Tom Coquette. I'm the Chief Deputy Director of the California Air Resources Board.
Do you think that part of the reason that they're saying they're having a real hard time looking at this waiver is because it actually will have an impact on miles per gallon that a car goes?
Well, I think anyone who looks at the issue of climate change emissions knows that the formula has to include a big thing called efficiency. Whether it's a battery electric vehicle with electrons, whether it's ethanol, or whether it's gasoline, we need to use less of it to get a mile down the road. And so there is a relationship between the two. But what we've shown is that this is not a fuel economy regulation in California, it's a climate change regulation. There are multiple ways of achieving the goals. That includes the use of alternative fuels, includes the use of efficiency, includes the other greenhouse gases other than carbon dioxide that also need to be reduced. So we think the link is not absolute, and that certainly is not a reason to deny the waiver and the chance for California and 11 other states to move forward in this important area.
Part of the reason I believe that some of the auto manufacturers are fighting this as much is because they are also having to fight CAFE. CAFE is more politics. EPA, CARB is more science. Would it behoove the government to get rid of CAFE and just go with the science and say, we are going to get rid of CO2, we are going to get rid of evaporative emissions, and the car companies and the oil companies are going to help us?
I think what's important is that we know that we can't keep burning petroleum products at the rate we are today and using them inefficiently. So I think the car companies need to get with the program and realize that we have a problem that most scientists agree is threatening the future of our planet and our children. And in that context, one shouldn't be arguing about CAFE or arguing about whether we get a waiver or not. What one should be arguing is how quickly can we move towards a low-carbon society that doesn't impact the climate.
You've got a cellulosic plant coming on board in Los Angeles around 2011. It's going to sit right on a landfill, and it's going to use methane to power its electric plant. Tell me about that.
Well, I think there are a large number of opportunities to use biofuels, both grown from crops and also from waste, which we have lots of them here, including trying to use forest waste that right now are in part responsible for some of the fires that we have. There's an integrated approach that can look at biofuels, and biofuels, we think, in the 2050 timeframe or even the 2020 timeframe will play a significant role in our transportation future. What we won't have in 2020 and beyond is one fuel. What we think we will see is a combination of biofuels, electricity, perhaps hydrogen as being the fuels that will power our vehicles, and none of them will capture all of the market. We will need them all to meet these goals. So for that reason, we put money into research in cellulosic, to supporting the expansion of infrastructure for using ethanol and other biofuels. We're looking at synthetic fuels that can be made from other sources that would replace gasoline and diesel. All these things need to happen and are part of the menu, and we can't ignore any of them. So the government is committed to trying to help encourage the development of these technologies, and then we hope they will commercialize them in the marketplace.
One last question. You are mandating that automakers deliver on this program. Zero emissions, on partial zero emissions, and on CO2. Are you going to at some point mandate that the oil companies have to have E85 pumps in their gas stations in California?
Absolutely. The governor issued an executive order which directed the Air Resources Board to adopt what's called the low carbon fuel standard. What that means is that for all the gasoline that we use, there'll have to be less carbon in it, and that will mean the introduction of alternative fuels, and one of them is likely to be, in the short term, ethanol or other biofuels. And in that case, the oil companies will have the responsibility for selling the fuel to lower their carbon, and to do that they must have infrastructure and it must be priced competitively. So those three things portray the success of introducing low carbon fuels into the marketplace, and oil will be a big partner in solving these problems.
Thanks for taking all the time with us.
Okay, you're welcome.